Hey there, college football fans. It's Football Fanatic, aka Mike, here with you, just recapping over Saturday's games. Looking at a lot of action. Not too much, falling or rising in the top 25. Although we did have one big story of Florida State leapfrogging over LSU. Although LSU did win their game, they allowed Townsend FCS school to put up 22 points on them. And they still got the win 38-22, but that's a lot of points for a vaunted LSU defense to allow to a non-FBS, BCS ranked school. So they got leapfrogged by Florida State. Your top 5 in the AP polls right now rank out as Alabama at 1, Oregon at 2, Florida State at 3, LSU at 4, and Georgia coming in at 5. The Georgia Bulldogs winning their shootout against Tennessee. I believe it was 51-44. So a big time shootout, lots of shootouts and lots of close games this past Saturday. Biggest shootout probably that you'll ever see in your life. Video game numbers. Geno Smith and West Virginia beat Baylor, but it wasn't so much that they beat them. They just were the last ones to score, because the score came out 70-63 in favor of West Virginia. Geno Smith put up 656 yards, 8 touchdowns. The guy had more touchdowns than he had incompletions. I believe he had 7 incompletions, 8 touchdowns. That's ridiculous. That's just unheard of. Those are video game stats. So that was one big shootout. Baylor was ranked 25th. I believe they fell out of the top 25 after that loss. I don't think they should have. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Loss is a loss, and West Virginia's ranked 9th. I believe they move up 1 slot. So West Virginia's offense looks unstoppable. Defense, I don't know. They got to get that tightened up if they're gonna win some more games in the Big 12. But maybe they don't even have to worry about defense. Maybe you just get your offensive players off the bus and you beat every Big 12 team that way. I'd really like to see them matched up against Alabama's defense and see who wins that matchup if there's just too much on the field for Alabama to defend. The other team that lost was Stanford. They lost on Thursday night to Washington. That news is a little bit old, so it's not quite as shocking as like a big shootout or anything like that. It was one of these big shootouts over the weekend. But the Stanford were ranked 8th and lost to Washington in Washington, although it was a neutral game in Seattle, CenturyLink Field. And, they dropped some because of that loss, and it really hurts them because it's a Pac-12 loss and it's a Pac-12 North loss. So it really hurts them there. Although we can argue, we're not going to, but we could argue, does it hurt SC more than it hurts Stanford? Yeah, it hurts Stanford, but SC lost to Stanford, and now Stanford loses to an unranked opponent. So that's a little food for thought there. Ohio State gets by in a nail biter by Michigan State, winning by 1, and so a lot of closer games. South Carolina Kentucky game started out really close. I think Kentucky had the lead at some point, and South Carolina eventually just put the hammer down on them. Nebraska, Wisconsin. Wisconsin had them for the longest time, and then they just gave up the lead, ended up losing. Wisconsin did. Lost by 3. So there's a lot of close games this Saturday. A lot of good stuff to check out. Alright, football fans. I'll check in with you next Saturday for sure, probably Wednesday night, to let you know about all the games, give you my predictions for the top 25, and to answer any college football questions you may have. Alright. This has been Football Fanatic Mike, and just checking in with you guys. Checking with you on Wednesday. See you.